Explain like I'm 5 why are train tracks laid on top of gravel and not on something more sturdy such as concrete? Some train tracks are literally built on top of mounds of gravel. Why is this the case? Wouldn't it be safer, better to have them built on something like concrete? Or even sunken into the ground like trams? Railway ballast, the technical term for the gravel, has some properties which make it better than a solid foundation such as concrete. It's largely self-leveling, handles vibration better. Vibrations can cause damage to concrete, and heavier trains cause more vibrations. Has natural drainage. Concrete would need drainage channels built into it during construction. Copes with vegetation better. Roots can break up concrete and is trivial to lay and replace, can literally be done in minutes. And on a continuous basis, concrete would need time to set before you can lay the rails on it. Alright kiddo, step by step we go. 1. Trains are super heavy, so tracks need a bed that's both strong and flexible. 2. Gravel acts like a cushion, spreading out the train's weight. 3. Rainwater? No problem, gravel helps it drain away quickly. 4. Gravel can move a bit, allowing tracks to settle without cracking, unlike hard concrete. 5. Lastly, maintenance is easier. If there's an issue, workers can move gravel around. So, gravel is like a comfy, protective bed for train tracks, locomotive, railway track. In addition to what others have said, sanding is used in train operations to improve adhesion in both braking and traction. Gravel is much better suited to absorb the sand compared to concrete. For high-speed trains, sometimes concrete is used, such as on the German lines for high speed and high axle load. The benefits are less maintenance and better kept geometry, but it's more expensive to build. The simple answer is that solidity and support for high stress and vibration areas are not safer. Ballast can continue to compact and adjust through vibration and most weather conditions. Has enough give to handle stress points and weight as well as conditions like heavy rains and extreme heat. Concrete is susceptible to damage from these kind of conditions. Rocks are cheap. Throw lump into big angry machine and out comes Eve-sized pieces. Needs no special transportation. Fast to lay. Almost self-levels itself when laid. Has its own drainage. Has inherent movement which allows different weights and speeds to travel across it without degradation. Great for track laying machines which lay the ballast and the rails in front of it. Big machines make powerful vibrations. If you put something solid next to a powerful vibration, the solid object will be battered. Basically, sturdy things will take on all these vibrations really easily. And that's a really bad thing because materials including concrete will crack under vibrations. If you put something loose around it instead, the vibrations are absorbed much better and therefore don't cause as much damage. Think of it this way. Imagine hitting a slab of concrete with a sledgehammer. Now hit a punching bag with a sledgehammer. Cost in the UK we call it slab track. The rail is fixed to large slabs on concrete. However, historically ballast was used and it's cheaper to keep it that way rather than converting the existing infrastructure to slab track.
VZZZHVHZZZZHHZZIHVVKVF VizVZHZVVZVZVZZZZZZZZZZSH Hosk ZHZZZHHIV Variaha HHHZHCHCHZZZV. Concrete is solid. Gravel has some room to shift. You want that ability to shift a bit as millions of pounds of cargo goes over the top of it. Tracks do flex a bit, and gravel will reset itself, whereas concrete will just explode.
I know almost nothing about trains, but when you watch them go by, the tracks go up and down. If they were laid on concrete, I assume the concrete would break almost as soon as the train's weight was on it. The rocks are pretty much self-leveling and move with the tracks, I guess. Isn't HS2 all solid concrete base? In addition to what's being mentioned, gravel is way less costly and is much quicker to lay. In addition to the points others have made, concrete requires footers down to below frost depth to prevent shifting of the structure during freeze-thaw cycles, resulting in significantly increased construction costs. The ballast stones forms a cushion for the track structure and absorbs the energy and weight of the trains. To the train, ballast is a cushion. Not sure if this was mentioned. The type of gravel was specifically picked because of its jagged, sharp edges. These help to interlock and compact as they vibrate. If you are ever able to do this, try digging a couple stones deep and pulling a piece of gravel out of the pile. They sit well enough to be close to the effectiveness of concrete. We could, and we do when it comes to light rail trams. But the stones does good enough job and is both cheaper and easier. Most of the comments here are good. My dad was a conductor and he said at one point they wanted to also use concrete ties, which he thought was dumb if a train derailed. A wooden tie might be alright, but the concrete ones just break. Just a little side trivia. Concrete would crack and break very quickly. Gravel is basically just very sturdy rocks. The rocks can move and level themselves. Overall, it is a much better choice because of these reasons. Primarily to handle the buckling required of the various weights and types of trains that will travel on top of them. Gravel enables flexing and self-leveling, in addition to being more stable than concrete that degrades over time. The ties are what need to be replaced frequently. Not the gravel, though. Reforming and relaying does usually occur when ties are replaced. This is due to natural drying and rotting of wood, even treated woods from which the ties are made. Source: me, who talked to a CSX employee as he was relaying tracks near my neighborhood last year. Trains go grkty 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 chkchkchkchk cover things. Concrete would break from all of that. It's not gravel, they're specially sourced flat jagged rocks that will interlock in a sort of web. This lets them flex as needed with temperature, vibration, and load changes, as well as have gaps for plant roots and water so it won't degrade as fast as concrete would. Speaking as someone who's walked along what you call gravel, it ain't. It's larger chunks than your garden variety gravel. It's good for stability and drainage. Concrete's suitability for long-term applications is questionable. Most applications are rated for 50 years, even nuclear storage. See NRC's specs. Look at any 80-year-old concrete dam or bridge and you will find very concerning things. The secrets of Roman concrete aside. But in the end we need to engineer smarter building materials. Easy answer. It would cost like $1 bajillion more. And it would take like 1 million times longer to lay track to the west in the olden days. Plus concrete would partially turn to gravel over time from the weight of the train and seasons changing. Cost, and it's flexible. The ground moves a lot year to year and you need the railroad to move with it, not against it. Gravel doesn't compact, so the weight and constant movement of the train won't result in settlement of any sections or track, which would result in dangerous conditions. Actually, there are subway lines in Paris, France, where trains wear rubber tires and run on concrete. The famous Paris Line 6, for instance, uses rubber tires. This technology proved too energy consumptive and expensive as opposed to the iron-wheeled systems.